Welcome to the Hidden Spring Farm. It's getting close to the 2-year mark that we've purchased this 90-acre old hobby farm in Horseshoe Valley, Ontario, Canada. And we're in the process of transforming this beautiful, serene and tranquil 90 acres into an amazing and beautiful farm stay and experience vacation rental. We're trying to turn this property into our forever homestead so that my wife and I can live on the farm, live a very self-reliant, self-sustainable life, produce a lot of our own food, especially with the cost of food these days, and a fully operational farm stay vacation rental. And today I'm going to share with you how we're going about doing this. It's a huge undertaking and it's the biggest project I've ever undertook in my life. Possession of this property almost 2 years ago. There's this century farmhouse. It's 105 years old and it needed just a small amount of fixing up, not really a lot. We didn't do anything major. We also have this antique barn. It's really quite vintage in here. It's very old. It's made with all the old beams, you know, like tree beams that were hand hewn. Very cool. There's a vintage drive shed. There was this 10-acre divided paddock area. There's also 40 acres of hay fields. This is one of the 10-acre fields. It was just seeded this spring. The hay that was here at the time wasn't good at all. And my neighbor sprayed it and we planted all this fresh hay again. And that way we'll be good for many years to come. And not much else was here on the property. You know, there's 15 acres of hardwood forest and there's a really long private driveway and things like that. That's really what attracted us to this place. But my wife and I saw real potential in this place, and that's why we thought we would want to transform this into our forever homestead. One of the first things we did was renovate this century farmhouse, and when I say renovate, I just mean cosmetic things. We wanted to give this farmhouse a facelift to make it attractive to people to want to stay here. And that's why this was one of the first things that we got done, so that we could get it listed and we can start earning an income from it right away. Now, trying to turn this into an organic, self-sustaining property for our own purpose and lifestyle, we needed to get some animals on the farm, some livestock. And the first one that we got was ducklings. We got khaki Campbell ducks, and they were readily available in our area. And I specifically chose the khaki Campbell breed because they're prolific egg layers and very cold hardy. And they're fun to watch and play with too, because they're pretty crazy. Now, we were very new. We didn't quite know what we're doing. And we got these ducklings, but we didn't have any place to keep them. So I needed to build a duck house. And behind me here is my custom ultimate duck house. Nobody's ever seen a duck house like this before. And it does a really great job of keeping our ducks out of the weather and safe from predators. It took me 2 months to build. I built it all by myself. It's 16 feet long. The house itself is 22 feet long. The run is 30 feet long. And it's made with secure hardware cloth to keep the coyotes out. And there's a party pool for the ducks. And really, the ducks are just loving living in there, and they're happy to be in their custom ultimate ducky bunkie. Then a few days after that, I acquired some day-old chicks. We got black leghorn chicks, light Sussex chicks, and Rhode Island red chicks. And I didn't have anywhere to house these chicks because the chicken coop that was on the property was pretty rotten. It needed to be replaced, and I had a vision for the most amazing chicken house you've ever seen. So what we did is we kept the chickens in the barn for the first little while until I was ready to build this amazing, never before been seen chicken house. This is the chicken house behind me. It's got 8 sides, octagonal, and it has 2 layers plus a cupola on top, and it's got 7 runs and 7 coops. It's a piece of art, this Chateau du Palais, and it's really a labor of love. I've been working on this thing all last year, but it's still not completed. I'm working on it, guys, but I like doing things myself. So, you know, it's not done. I'm getting there. Hello, chickens. There's the Rhode Island Red coop, another Rhode Island Red coop. This is a light Sussex coop, and this is the Black Leghorn coop. And then I still have 1, 2, 3 coops still to finish. I'll be working on that real soon, and I also need to convert this center column here into a little brooding section for the day-old chicks. Of course, what's a farm without a farm dog? So we added Molly, the Old English sheepdog, who is now 2 years old, and we recently got Olive, who's only about 4 months. And they're both purebred Old English sheepdogs. They love living life at the farm, and they're absolutely living life to the fullest. We also had a rodent problem in the barn, so we ended up getting a bunch of barn cats. I call them the Claw Crew, and they do a really great job. They have been quite successful in keeping our rodent population down and under control here on the farm. Maggie May Barn Cat recently gave birth to 4 beautiful kittens, and they're growing fast, these kittens. They're getting big, they're running around. Pretty soon they're going to also be taking care of the mice for us. We also put in this country garden all around the front area of the house. You can see some alliums that are blooming there. You can see some azalea that's blooming there. We also have a bunch of ferns and roses and black-eyed Susans and hydrangeas and lilies, and the list goes on. It's very beautiful. Again, we're trying to create a farm stay environment here, so we want people to want to stay here. The more beautiful it is, the better. Last year, we also added 4 Emden geese to the farm, and they are supposed to be our guard geese for the ducks when they're free-ranging in our permaculture orchard. I'm in our permaculture orchard right now, and over the course of the last 2 years, we've planted 36 trees. We have pears, we have plums, we have cherries, we have 1 peach, and we have a bunch of apples. And what we did is we planted raspberries in between the rows. No need to waste space in between the rows, you know. We decided to do it a permaculture style to help with the development of the trees. This here is a honey locust, and it's a nitrogen fixing tree. And it's really, you know, we have them sporadically placed around the orchard here. There's a pear, Bing cherry. There's an Asian pear, Fuji apple, Honeycrisp apple. We also have the ducks and the geese free-ranging out in the permaculture orchard, and they're going to help us keep the insect population down so that there's not as many worms and caterpillars going on the trees, and they'll help keep the grass down, and they'll help fertilize the ground also. Undertaking last year was building this vegetable garden. It's completely fenced in. We put a nice gate in, and it's 104 feet by 54 feet. Last year was a little bit of a disaster, and we basically lost the battle with the weeds and the grasses, but this year we're doing it different. This year we're preparing fresh beds with fresh soil. You can see my darling over there. She's planting some potatoes. I've been working at all of these raised beds for a good portion of the spring. I'm nowhere near done, but we're getting there. We're using a landscape fabric combination with cardboard, and we have a bunch of these beds made, and it's going to be a lot better this year, I promise. But we really have still a ton of work to do, a ton. We're nowhere near ready for the year, but better late than never. There's an incredible amount that we've had to learn over the past couple years, and we've totally grown into living this lifestyle, and we know that this is what we want. You know, one of the many things about owning a vast property like this is that you need certain types of equipment, and that's another thing that we've had to learn so much about. We first invested in a farm tractor. It's a John Deere 3039R, and we have a wood chipper on the rear. We have a snow blower for the rear, and it helps us clear all the snow during the winter time. We also invested in a Kawasaki Mule Pro FXT, and it's a very important tool. I give farm tours to our guests in this machine. It holds from 3 up to 6 people because it's adjustable in the back, and it's a great work machine for around this farm. We also bought a 27-ton log splitter, and this helps us prepare firewood logs, of course. Otherwise, you would just be doing all that manual labor and making yourself burnt out. There's a whole bunch of other tools that we've invested in for use on the farm, such as chainsaws, pole saws, you know, things of that nature, axes, and a lot of power tools for the building of all of our structures. This was already a habitable property. Somebody was living here and we bought it from them. So there's the well. It's a very old well, but it's top 5% water in Canada. But you obviously need water throughout the property, otherwise you're lugging water. And in the first year, I have this one water hydrant here by the barn. It's a frost-free hydrant. Basically, when you shut it off, the water sinks back down so it doesn't freeze. And that's all I had. I had to lug water all around. Then last spring, we developed a system of having water in strategic areas around the farm. We have one over by the paddock. We have one right beside the chicken house. We have one beside the duck house. And we have one over by the orchard. So that gives us a total of 5 hydrants altogether. Last year was also the first year that we grew out our first set of meat chickens, and we filled up our freezer with about 30 chickens. And I mean, I think we still have 1 or 2 in the freezer until now, but we're gonna do it again this year and hopefully forever. We bought a plucker to get the feathers off. We bought a scalder, a little teamwork between my Darden and I, and we got all these chickens harvested, and we had a lot of good chicken throughout the course of the year. I actually just finished renovating our blueberry patch. We have approximately 40 blueberry bushes here, and there's 3 different varieties to encourage cross-pollination, and we're looking for some great blueberries in the future. Last year was also the first year that we grew our own mammoth sunflower field. We prepped the soil, we sowed the seed, we took care of it and managed it all the way to harvesting the seeds in the fall, and it was a really great experience. A few months ago, we also got rabbits here on the farm. They're Californian rabbits. They're a really great size. They're very beautiful white with black accents, and you know, they're a traditional meat rabbit, but I have no intentions on using them as a meat rabbit. I just want fertilizer, you know. I need all their poop to help fertilize all of our gardens. Right now I'm keeping these guys in the barn because I don't have a house for them, but I am going to be building them a rabbitat very soon. I just got to finish my goose house first. And we recently had a problem with barn cats disappearing due to predation here at the farm, so I built them this custom-made, state-of-the-art catio. Yeah, it's 16 feet long, 12 feet wide, and they're fully protected from predators inside this thing. I got a bunch of toys for them. I got gizmos, I got climbing apparatuses, we got stumps, we got balance beams for them. Future plans for this place, I have a real vision, and we're talking a real authentic fishing pond, gazebo on the side, dock, canoes, kayaks. I'm thinking maple syrup making, you know, sugar shack in the woods. Maybe it would be for rent when it's not in use making syrup. Maybe a treehouse in the woods that we could rent out. People love staying in a treehouse. Maybe it's a couple of off-grid cabins. Maybe one of the cabins can be off of the pond. You know, this is all ideas that are going around in my head. Let's just hope that we can bring all these ideas to fruition. Really do appreciate you watching, guys. Pound the like if you like the video. And don't forget to click that subscribe button for me, please. And follow along on our journey here of transforming this 90-acre property into an amazing and beautiful farm stay and experience. We're well underway, we're 2 years in, but we can still use your support. Really appreciate you watching, okay? You guys take care.